What's going on, guys? I am Kevin Muller, and welcome to another edition of Seven with Kevin, where I catch up with everything that you have seen and watch some stuff that you may haven't. And today I'm going to talk about some family films, including Venom. Well, you can take your teenage kids to Venom, but anyway, that's not really the point. I'm here to talk about some films with family-oriented themes. Let's start from the bottom. And my first one is Harold and the Purple Crayon, excuse me. This is based upon a popular children's novel about a young little boy who has a purple crayon and who can draw anything that his imagination wants. He can draw a bike, a car, and it comes to life. It's a great concept for a children's book, and it has been turned into a dreadful, terrible, lame adaptation starring Zachary Levi. We know Zachary Levi from Shazam, and that's who he was doing here. He is doing Shazam again. You know, Shazam had him playing a child inside an adult's body, and once again he's playing a child inside an adult's body. But with this, Harold is never an adult within the books. So the filmmakers decided to do this, and it is a terrible decision. It gets grating. It's annoying. Zachary Levi, I like the guy, but having him do this for an hour and 23, hour and 25 minutes is not a good idea. It's not charming at all. He also has friends within the animated world because the film starts off like an animation that reminisces how the people look in the book. And it is a porcupine and a moose played by Tanya Roberts and Little Ray Howerton from Get Out. Great part in that movie. But here they are embarrassing. They are trying to do stuff with this. It does not work. The concept doesn't work. It's lame. It's not funny. There are no lessons. It is a cheap knockoff of every childhood movie that you have seen. We even have Jermaine Clement, who is always great. I always enjoy his presence in the movie. He is terrible here as a villain with the worst motive in the world and the worst writing in the world. You know, Zoe Deschanel also gets sucked into this mess, and it's not good. And I wish he took that crayon and he made a better script because the script here is awful, the direction is lackluster, the effects are bad, and the overall sense of the whole thing is just lazy filmmaking. And I'm going to give this one 0 out of 5 How Tear Pieces. I love Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy is a fantastic actor, and I really hope he moves away from Venom. My next film is Venom 3. It was fun, it was cool, and it's interesting to see him act like he is talking to himself because he is talking to Venom, who represents not only the superhero or the anti hero that we all love, but represents his inner feelings, his inner turmoil, and basically everything that he can't be as the bubbling kind of Eddie Brock. And Tom Hardy is the only really good thing about this movie. This movie feels like it was written and done by a 13-year-old boy. We have a lot of interesting people here. We have Lana Eubank as a hippie mother. We have Juno Temple as a scientist, and Stephen Graham, who now is in Adolescence, a very popular show on Netflix. I have not seen it. I've heard a lot of great things. He is back playing the villain. It's just lame. It's dumb. It's not terrible like Harold, but I I'm bored with it. I just don't like what they've done with this movie. Hopefully the MCU can make Venom, evil and frightening again. Like, say what you want about the Tobey Maguire version. I think that version, as far as like him being a frightening force, is more convincing than what Tom Hardy has given us. Oh, and please, someone get Chiwetel Ejiofor a new agent. The Academy Award nominated actor who was in 12 Years a Slave is here playing a stereotypical soldier. This guy is better than this material. Everybody is better than this material. And I don't hate it. Hardy saves it. Hardy's fun to watch. He's a fantastic comedic actor and an even better physical actor. And for him and him alone, I'm going to give this one 2 out of 5 Hardy hair pieces. Let me start off with this. If you are a diehard fan of Garfield, avoid this film. Personally, I liked Garfield growing up. I thought he was a cool character. I loved his wit. I loved his sarcasm. I loved his love for lasagna. And I thought Bill Murray caught all this very well in the versions that came out like 20 years ago. Like, it was an early 2000 movie. For this one, they casted Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt sounds nothing like Garfield. He doesn't attempt to sound like Garfield. He doesn't have the wit. He doesn't have the style. Yeah, I just don't know what they were thinking. you want to talk about getting the shaft. John Arbuckle is his name. Yes, the father figure in Garfield's life is totally made into a one-dimensional joke in this movie. He's hardly in the movie. The father figure in this movie is played by Samuel L. Jackson, who plays Garfield's biological and estranged father, who brings Garfield back into his life so they can pull off a big heist, which is the plot of the movie. The whole entire thing very feels like a very lame Saturday morning cartoon in the way it's animated, the way the jokes fly. I've watched kids movies, and as we move through this list, you'll see one of the movies I chose is one of the best movies I've seen this year. But with this film, it's lame, it's stupid. Uh, I must say though, Odie, character who does not speak one bit in this film, and overall he doesn't speak in any of the iterations of this thing. He is fantastic. He will steal your heart every time he is on screen. He is fascinating to watch. He's funny. He can emote so much without saying anything. And it is a problem when the supporting character is a lot more interesting than your title character. Again, Odie saves this thing, and it's not terrible. It does have a little bit of charm, but I'm giving this one 2.5 out of 5 Odie hair pieces. Let me just start off by saying the best Christmas pageant ever has a giant heart. And that is something that is very important in a Christmas movie. And I wouldn't object if families showed this during the holidays. It's a nice film with a nice message, never to leave anyone out, even especially during the holidays. But this is all done in a very bland, vanilla type of way. There is nothing exciting about this movie. There is nothing innovative. It is very straightforward. We have Judy Greer, we have Pete Holmes, and we have Lauren Graham from the Gilmore Girls. She is narrating this thing like a Christmas story, but this movie is not even in the same universe as the Christmas story. It doesn't have half the heart, the humor, or wit that that movie had. Again, not a bad movie. I don't want to be a Scrooge or a Grinch and shit on this thing, but it's very down the middle. I've already started forgetting about what this thing was about, but it's a nice thing to have on in the holidays, I guess, when you're getting drunk on eggnog and have this on the background to entertain the kids. And I'm going to give this one 2.5 out of 5 Santa hair pieces. John Krasinski's writing and directing, I think his third feature, is a perfect example of a concept that looks incredible on paper and probably looked even better when you see the amount of people that he gathered up. He gathered up Ryan Reynolds, who is a human in this movie. He gathered up his wife and a whole bunch of people I'm not going to try to remember, but the thing is stacked. Has stacked cast. But the best performance in this movie goes to Kaylee Fleming. Kaylee Fleming, I did not watch The Walking Dead past like half of season 2, but I heard that she was on it and she was very good in that show, and she is very good here. She plays a young girl who needs an imaginary friend at a very vital time in her life, where she is balancing, continuing to have a happy life and maybe slipping into one filled with sadness. This could have been a really good movie, but the concept never gets off the ground. I was waiting for something big to happen. I was waiting for that pull to happen, but it never happens. But I will give this movie something. The movie represents the imaginary friends, the ifs, very well. I love the design of these things. Each one had its own personality, its own look, and I don't know, they just looked really cool when they popped off the screen. It's not a terrible movie, but again, just like a best Christmas pageant ever, it's something that is very forgettable. And with the amount of talent behind this one, it should have been a home run, but it's a very average film, and I'm going to give it 2.5 out of 5 Johnny Krasinski hair pieces. The money management over at Warner Brothers is very questionable. David Zaslav has made it his goal to fully eliminate Looney Tunes. But then he takes the money and he gives it to a property, Lord of the Rings, and he gets Japanese animators who make this thing look amazing. I love the animation in this film. It is beautiful. But I just don't understand why you would spend, I think, 60 to $80 million on the story where, first of all, it really doesn't have any of the characters that we know and love. There is a shout out at the end to something that could connect it to what we all know. Even the Amazon Prime show is a lot more grand and epic than this. Listen, it's not a bad film. It's about two warring families. And in those warring families, the king is played by Brian Cox. And of course, Brian Cox is going to bring it. And he does bring it as the king. But I just don't understand why so much money was given to this and why Looney Tunes and any other thing animated is not being even looked at. But thankfully, I don't know, at the time of this recording, Catch Up Entertainment is going to release Acme versus Coyote or Coyote versus Acme. Yeah, but this thing it's fine. It's not a bad movie. I enjoyed parts of it, but nothing really popped out at me. The animation's nice, but if you're going to do a movie set in the Lord of the Rings universe, you need that magic. You need that fantasy grandness to it. And it really doesn't have it. Again, it's not a bad film. It's well done. The voice acting is pretty good. But with that, I'm going to give this one 3 out of 5 token hair pieces. And the best thing that I saw within the 7 and one of the best movies of 2024 has to be The Wild Robot. I missed this thing during the Oscar campaign where it was nominated for Best Animated Feature, and holy shit, I cannot believe that I slept on this thing so long. First of all, the first 20 minutes of this thing is incredible. After I watched this movie, I actually went back and watched that 20 minutes. The animation, the setup, the humor, and the overall world building of this thing is beautiful. Chris Sanders did this one. Did a hell of a job with this one. Lupita Nyong'o does the voice of the robot called Roz, and amazing performance, so layered, so full of warmth, so full of emotion, but also sounds like a robot. It's her basically becoming a mother-like figure to one of the animals on the islands, and I just thought it was a great film. The animation's great. We have Pedro Pascal. Sorry, it took me a minute. Pedro Pascal plays a fox. Great performance. And I'm not going to spoil other animals. It'll be fun for you to see if you can spot who voices who. There are a lot of good people who voice the animals on the island. There's a lot of good lessons about motherhood, about fitting in, and basically looking at someone who is different but is helping and has a genuine heart. I love this movie. I thought it was great, and it is something that I think you should watch with your kids. It has a lot of good morals and a lot of good lessons. And with that, I'm going to give this one 5 out of 5 Roz hair pieces. So, what did you think? Have you seen these 7 movies? Do you agree with me? Do you think that The Wild Robot was overrated? Or maybe you are one of the few who enjoyed Harold and the Purple Crayon? Let me know if I'm wrong. I like to hear from everyone. I love doing this, guys. I love updating you. I love basically going through this list. I'm a little past halfway of finishing this list, and it's been a ride. Next time with 7 with Kevin, I'm going to do movies based upon actresses that I have admiration for somehow, and I won't tell you who. I'm also going to do a video on Magazine Dreams, which was the movie that came out very low under the radar with Jonathan Majors that was supposed to come out 2 years ago. But of course, with the controversy with him, that did not happen. And also, I'm going to do a review on the Gilgo Beach documentary because that guy lived 10 minutes away from me. Anyway, come to the website, Cinephellas.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Come to the site. Watch us talk about movies. I miss these guys. We got to do a podcast soon. Anyway, as we say on this site, I am Kevin Muller, and cheers.